Joining us now, Raian Karanjawala, the senior advocate of the Supreme Court and a key part of Aryan Khan's defense team. This is his first interview after bail was granted to his client. Thanks very much for being with us. Mr. Karanjawala, the additional Solicitor General had argued, and this has been a consistent argument, that under the NDPS Act, bail is not the rule, it is very much the exception. And they've argued that the Supreme Court has said that drugs cases were sometimes worse than even culpable homicide. Did you go into today's hearing knowing that there was absolutely no guarantee that bail would happen?
So, while you cannot take any hearing for granted, I personally am convinced that what happened today should have happened 3 weeks ago. Because from the beginning, our counsel Mukul Rohtgi has pointed out when he argued, and so did the earlier counsels Amit Desai and Satish Manishinde when they argued at different points of time in the trial, that this is a case where there is no evidence whatsoever against Aryan Khan. No possession of any drugs, no medical evidence to show that he consumed anything. The highest case against him was that a friend of his who went to the party with him had some drugs on him. Now, very simply put, as I gave in an earlier example, supposing a barat walks into a wedding and some of the people in that wedding carry on them a banned substance and they are caught. Are you going to have a situation where you arrest the groom? And for what?
Right.
So, not just now. So, it's very clear that this was never a case where he should have been arrested.
Right. So now, key to the argument, Mr. Karanjawala, of the ASG, the Additional Solicitor General, was the conspiracy angle. That even if you are not found in possession, you are part of the conspiracy since you will be liable for the same punishment as someone found with a commercial quantity of contraband. From a legal standpoint, where does that stand?
The answer is, where is the evidence of a conspiracy? Where is the evidence of a conspiracy? Simply put, look at it like this. There is nothing to show that there was a pre-meeting of minds to do an illegal act. There is no concert. The only agreement was that two friends who know each other were going on a cruise. Yes, that was what was agreed upon. Nothing more. So where does the question of conspiracy come in? Of course it's correct that if there is a conspiracy, if people have conspired together, say this is how we'll smuggle drugs onto the ship and then we'll all enjoy it together, then that would work. But there's no such evidence at all.
Right. Now, again,
I gave you the exact example.
Go ahead, sir.
So I gave you the exact example of the wedding barati.
Right. Now, has there been a confession by your client that he had been procuring drugs? Because this is another argument that the ASG had made.
So, as far as I understand, that was retracted immediately. But apart from that, that still has nothing to do with this incident. That's it. But at the moment you are charged with an incident, prove the incident, you can't.
Right. Now, the importance of WhatsApp chats in this, in the proceedings in court today, these WhatsApp chats were also showcased to the judge. I have not been able to understand all of them.
The answer is that the Supreme Court has always has for a considerable period of time taken the view that a WhatsApp chat has no evidentiary value.
Is it also true, sir, that these WhatsApp chats were of a previous period, that they are dated, and therefore their relation to this particular case is not relevant?
First of all, we don't even know whether these WhatsApps will have to be proved. We don't even know whether they are there or not. But even assuming so, of course they are dated. They have nothing to do with this incident anyway.
Mr. Karanjawala, what exactly?
And also you must understand.
Yes.
Also you must understand that I understand my client spent some time in California, where the consumption of that drug is perfectly legitimate. We don't know whether the WhatsApp chat is that period or not. So there are a lot of things to be gone into. But the one thing that you cannot get away from is, as far as this case is concerned, there was no evidence whatsoever.
Now, Mr. Karanjawala, this so-called independent witness, Kiran Gosavi, what was he doing in the Narcotics Control Bureau office with Aryan? He seemed to have had repeated access, as the pictures and the video show, and in one of them he's taking a message or he's getting Aryan to say something. What was that all about?
I think my counsel has made it clear in court that we have nothing to do with this argument, and I'm going to stick to the same on TV. Thanks.
No, not the argument. I'm just trying to understand who this entire Gosavi angle in this. It just seems bizarre that somebody would be in the NCB office like this.
It does seem bizarre, but I'm not getting into this argument at all.
Okay. What about the other side of what is happening beyond your client and his case? That there is this entire political battle at one level which is taking place, the NCP versus the NCB, Nawab Malik versus Samir Wankhede. In the eyes of the law and in terms of the case itself, could this potentially have some sort of bearing in how it's conducted in court?
It's not something I'm going to comment on.
Okay. What about the other set of allegations which have been made? Prabhakar Sahil making all sorts of allegations about some money having been exchanged. This is also being looked at. There is a notarized statement by him. Does this become potentially important as well?
Vishnu, in this interview, I'm going to stick to the arguments we raised in court and leave it at that.
Okay. Is there anything, I take your point, sir. Is there anything further that you would like to add at this stage? Aryan must be relieved that this has happened, but I'm told that there are 13 odd conditions with his bail. Is that standard? 13 odd conditions once you're granted bail in cases like this?
I'm in Delhi, so I haven't had the opportunity to see the bail conditions. So at the moment, I can't comment on that.
Okay.
And all I can say is that I hope he comes out at the earliest, if not tonight, by tomorrow.
You are optimistic of him being out definitely by tomorrow?
I can't be optimistic. I'm hoping.
All right. And the order will be out tomorrow itself, right?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Right. All right, Mr. Karanjawala. Thank you very much for speaking to us, joining us in this particular case. Aryan Khan out on bail. After nearly a month by the time he's actually out. That order will come out tomorrow itself. Thank you, sir, very much for being with us.